Alright, welcome back to WMAC Now with your host Chuck Stevenson. So tonight I want to take a few minutes to talk about ONE Championship Atomweight champ Angela Lee. So the champ made her long-awaited return, almost 2.5 years away. She finally returned at 1X back on March 26th, defeating Tsamp Fairtex, the ONE Atomweight Grand Prix champion, via rear naked choke submission in the second round. And she came back, looked absolutely phenomenal, survived a near finish in the first round, and soldiered on throughout, looked good the rest of the round, and then absolutely ran away with the fight in the second round up until the rear naked choke submission finish. So now, the big question is going to be, what is next for the champ? What's next for Angela Lee? I want to talk about three main options that ONE Championship could be looking to explore in the coming weeks and months. Hopefully they make a decision sooner rather than later, because after 2.5 years away, there's no reason to have too long of a layoff. So let's talk about these options. So the first option is going to be a trilogy fight with Seong Jin-nan, the ONE strawweight champion. Now, these two first faced off at A New Era back in March of 2019, with Angela losing via TKO in the 5th round, and that was when she was challenging for Seong's strawweight title. The second fight came later that year in October at 1 Century, with Angela winning and defending her atomweight title. Seong came down to challenge for the atomweight title, and Angela won via submission, I believe rear naked choke, late in the 5th round, like a buzzer-beating submission. Absolute buzzer beater. So these two have history, and Angela has already talked about, she still has her eye on capturing Seong's strawweight title. That was the thing she said leading into the fight against Stamp, and like immediately after, she said, well, I still have my eye on capturing Jin-nan's strawweight title. I think ONE Championship could definitely do it. They could do it either at strawweight, or Seong has talked about possibly moving down to challenge for the atomweight title again. Either fight is very doable. I think they would probably end up making it for Seong's strawweight title because, well, Angela's the bigger star for them, and they're going to do what she wants rather than what Seong wants. Here's my problem with this possible matchup. Angela just came back off of a 2.5 year, just under 2.5 year layoff. She finally came back, finally defended her title for the first time since October of 2019. So why would ONE allow her to go up and challenge for the second title again after she already failed it the first try? And then why would they allow her to fight outside her division when she just finally defended her title for the first time in several years? Myself, I do want to see this trilogy fight played out eventually, but I think right now, right now is not the time for it. Back when these two faced off the first time, it kind of made sense. At the time, Angela had pretty much cleared the atomweight division of contenders. She had already faced Mei Yamaguchi twice. She had just coming off of beating Yamaguchi for the second time. And at the time, the atomweight division was cleared of contenders. But now, after 2.5 years away, and including being away from the division most of 2019 anyway, because she fought 2 times at strawweight before coming back down to atomweight, she basically spent almost 3 years away from the division, essentially. And in that time, the division has grown. There's a whole slew of new contenders and near contenders. So she's got plenty of work to do in her own division. So while I do want to see this fight happen eventually, this trilogy fight, I just think right now she has other work to do. She's got a lot of catching up to do in her own division. Which moves us to option number 2. ONE Championship has practically already advertised a possible grappling match against their new star in training, Danielle Kelly. This fight could be fun. A nice little grappling match between Angela and Danielle. I mean, Angela is known to be a wizard on the ground for MMA, whereas Danielle is a somewhat highly touted submission grappler herself, but in submission grappling. Like, that's what she does full time. Danielle is a full-time submission grappler, whereas Angela is a full-time MMA fighter. So this could get interesting. Danielle's had some interesting matchups against MMA fighters in the past when grappling. She's actually undefeated against MMA fighters in submission grappling. So if Angela were to win, she'd be the first MMA fighter to beat Danielle at her own game. So that certainly makes it a little interesting. Now, personally, I would only want this match to happen if it doesn't mean that Angela ends up, spending a whole lot of time preparing, especially for this matchup. Like, there have been MMA fighters in the past that have taken submission grappling bouts and then still fought MMA soon after. So you don't really need a full camp to prepare for a submission grappling bout. So I don't have a problem with this bout, as long as it doesn't mean that a title defense gets pushed back that much further. Because to me, a champion should always prioritize title defenses first against anything else. And that includes grappling matches. So if one wants to do this one, I don't have a problem with it, as long as it doesn't mean pushing back her next title defense even further than what it normally would be. Which brings us to the third and final option, an atomweight title defense against Ham Sahi. So Ham is fresh off of her second straight victory over former number 1 ranked atomweight Denise Zambawanga. They first faced off back at ONE Empower back in September, with Ham coming away via split decision, the winner. And then they just faced off at ONE X with Ham beating Zambawanga again, this time with a clear-cut, unanimous decision. Left no question who won that bout. At this time, I believe Ham moved up to number 2 in the rankings, just behind Tsamp, who Angela just fought. So this is the fight that absolutely makes sense. And this finally gives ONE Championship a reason to actually talk about Ham and talk about her accomplishments. Because up until now, they've basically just not really acknowledged, her credentials up until this point. Which is weird, because why would you sign someone who comes in as credentialed in MMA, who's held as many titles as Ham does, and basically downplay her the entire time? So I think if ONE Championship were to finally acknowledge, or were to match these two up, if ONE Championship were to match up Lee and Ham, it'd be a great fight. First of all, it would be an absolutely great fight. Lee has never faced someone as experienced and as highly credentialed in MMA as Ham Sahi. I mean, Ham has won titles, multiple promotions. She's been the Jules/Deep Jules champion. She's been the Road FC champion. She came in to ONE as the Ryzen Super Atomweight champion. And she's faced a who's who in the sport in the atomweight division. And what really makes it interesting is if you're familiar with Ham, you know that she is a true blue atomweight fighter. She has regularly fought at 105 pounds. Whereas Angela is a ONE atomweight fighter. She fights at 115 pounds. So we get to see Angela face like a true atomweight champion for once. So that alone makes it great. But also, it will finally force ONE Championship to acknowledge Ham's, credentials, because that's how you build up the fight. You say, well, here's our champion facing this fighter who is a champion across, multiple different promotions, multiple organizations, has this long storied history. She's a pioneer of the sport in her country. This fight sells itself. So, in my personal opinion, option number 3, Lee defending her title against Ham, is the absolute best option for what ONE Championship should do next for Angela Lee. So those are my thoughts on this. Who should Angela Lee face next? Should it be the Sion Trilogy fight? Should it be a grappling match with Danielle Kelly? Or should it be a title defense against Ham Sahi? Well, my pick is the title defense against Ham Sahi. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you think Angela Lee should fight next in the comments down below? If you liked the video, please give it a like, share it as well. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to WMMAC Now, the best, most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.